Right, okay. Welcome to this lesson. The lesson I'm going to talk about is attaching gauges, running a refrigeration system, pump it down and take off the gauges without losing any refrigerant. After that, I'll also demonstrate how to change a component on the system. And in this instance, the component I will talk about will be the filter dryer. You can use the same method to remove any other component, i.e. the expansion device or even the evaporator. You can change it, depending on how you do it. If you go through the procedure, you will see clearly how that is done. Once again, this is Dr. Benjamin Yemoh, refrigeration and air conditioning consultant, and also management and business consultant. Right, now, before you attach the gauges, you first of all have to inspect the gauges. Make sure that the needles are on zero. There are no breaks. Yeah? Physically, the gauges, the hoses are all fit for use, and they are fit for purpose. After that, you have to check and make sure your service valves are backseated before you remove the sealing cap. So I'm checking the suction service valve for backseating. It's backseated, no problem. So I know that if I remove the sealing cap here from the service point, there will be no gas leakage. So that is done. And I'm now attaching my low side gauge. The blue one is for the low pressure, low temperature side of the system. And that is where you have the compound gauge, which is the blue gauge. Right. Now, I'm going to do the same thing to the high side. I'll use the liquid receiver service valve. Some people use the discharge service valve, which is fine, but because of charging the system and all that, if you're charging liquid, you don't want to charge liquid into the compressor. You don't want to pass liquid through the discharge service valve. So we use the liquid receiver service valve to attach the gauge so that if you want to do any other thing, you can carry on normally and safely. Now, that is also checked and it's well backseated. There's no problem there. So now I can remove my sealing cap and then connect the hose. The red, which is for the high pressure side of the system, and the red gauge is the one we use to measure pressure and temperature on the high side. Now, the middle one is the center port. The hose for the center port, and that is for charging the system. You can use it to vac the system, to vacuum it, and you can use it to recover refrigerant as well. We also use it sometimes to pass oil into the compressor. Now, I've attached my gauges. Now, I need to purge to clear any air in the hoses out before I open the refrigerant or release the refrigerant into the system. That is to avoid contamination, very important. Because if you contaminate the system with moisture, moisture contains the air, contaminate the system with air. Air contains moisture. And this moisture will separate in the system at some point where temperatures are low, and then it will mix with the oil. And when it does that, it can form hydrochloric acid. Or if it goes through the expansion device, it can block the expansion device when temperature there goes to 0 and below. Right. Now I'm going to purge from low side to high side. Now purging means just crack and get a bit of pressure and let that pressure push the air through the system, push the air through the hoses, and then flush the air out at the high side. Now after cracking, I'm opening the gauges. So the refrigerant is pushing the air to the high side, and then I can flush it. So purge the system. Now I can turn it on. After purging the system, nothing stops you from turning the system on. Right. So I'm turning the system on. Yeah. System will be running once the power is turned on. But remember, before that, I'm closing the gauges. Yeah, I'm closing the gauges. Yeah, I've closed the gauges. So then I know that with the gauges closed, there will be no liquid coming from the high side to the low side, which can affect the operation of the system.